WNBA. But there are a lot of really good fans, whether they've been fans for 20 plus years or whether they're new fans in our league. I think continuing to uplift this league in a very positive light is the best thing that we can do, because there are so many great players, there's so many great teams, there are so many positive storylines that can be written and celebrated. And for me, that's why I became a fan of this league, is these people were my idols. I grew up.
She wasn't supposed to break records this fast. Nobody expected a soft-spoken newcomer to set the world of women's basketball on fire, but Caitlin Clark has spent the last few years doing exactly that, despite the hype swirling around her. Name: there's always more to uncover. Surprising stories and hidden battles that have shaped one of the most exciting new faces in the sport. How did this young phenom go from local standout to a national sensation practically overnight? And what dark horses are still waiting on the horizon, ready to challenge her meteoric climb? Long before any cameras followed her every move, Caitlin Clark was just a determined kid shooting hoops in empty gyms. Rumor has it she was already drilling deep three-pointers when most of her peers still struggled to dribble with their left hand. Coaches who worked with her at an early age noted a quiet intensity, an uncanny focus well beyond her years. One trainer even claimed she'd arrive at dawn for extra practice sessions before class, refusing to leave until she hit a specific number of shots in a row. That tireless work ethic became the blueprint for everything that followed. While other players balanced multiple sports and clubs, Clark seemed laser-focused on refining her jump shot, studying tape of NBA and WNBA icons, and mimicking any move that looked unstoppable. She worked through sprained ankles and jammed fingers, with near-obsessive determination, always chasing that next milestone. People started noticing how she never backed down from bigger, tougher opponents, even as a freshman. Onlookers quietly whispered, "This kid is special," but few realized just how large those words would loom in the coming years. Yet, even then, there were murmurs that this unassuming teenager might explode onto the national scene much sooner than expected. If there's one thing fans love, it's a show-stopping highlight reel, and Clark provided exactly that almost every time she stepped onto the court in college. From dropping 30 points with eye-popping ease to dishing out assists so precise, you'd think she had eyes in the back of her head. She carved out a place in the history books as if it was destined. It wasn't long before she started setting single-game scoring records, sometimes besting players with far more experience. Reporters buzzed about her ability to pull up from the logo as though it were a layup, leaving defenders embarrassed and coaches scrambling for answers. One memorable performance saw her rack up a triple-double that looked straight out of a video game. Points, rebounds, and assists all soared to jaw-dropping levels. Each historic night only intensified the debates. Was she a once-in-a-generation talent, or was she simply a beneficiary of modern basketball's faster pace and looser style? By the time she'd stacked up multiple conference honors, Player of the Year mentions, and more viral clips than most professionals could dream of, it was clear she wasn't slowing down. Some critics argued she was still rough around the edges, perhaps too reliant on long-distance bombs and not quite polished in other areas. But game after game, Clark kept burying those doubts beneath ever-higher stat lines. For those paying close attention, it felt like watching a chapter from an epic tale, unfolding in real time. Of course, when a bright star rises so quickly, fireworks are bound to follow. Caitlin Clark found herself at the center of more than one heated rivalry, both on and off the court. The most headline-grabbing involved another rising star, Angel Reese, who challenged Clark on everything from shooting range to attitude. During a high-stakes matchup, the tension felt electric as trash talk escalated into subtle gestures and pointed stares. The entire women's basketball fandom erupted online. Some called it good, old-fashioned competition. Others labeled it unsportsmanlike drama. But the Clark versus Reese chatter wasn't the only controversy swirling around her. Rumors spread that certain veteran players found her style too flashy, especially the deep pull-up threes and fearless drives. Critics claimed Clark hogged the spotlight, overshadowing her teammates in pursuit of personal glory. Then came the message boards picking apart her every move, her expressive reactions to fouls, the way she sometimes celebrated after draining a tough shot. In truth, these controversies often seemed fueled by both Clark's magnetic presence and an undercurrent of envy. She was the name you couldn't ignore, and in sports that usually draws a target on your back. Still, all the speculation, interviews, and heated discussions only boosted her profile. She added new layers of complexity to a game that was no longer just about scoring. It was about captivating an audience, even if that meant stepping on a few toes in the process. But that wasn't the whole story. Plenty of athletes can shoot a decent three-pointer, but few have mastered the art of burying it from ridiculous spots on the court the way Clark does. At times, It feels like she's testing the very limits of basketball physics. She'll dribble a few steps past half court, glance up at the rim, and unleash a shot so audacious that defenders stand frozen, almost in disbelief. And more often than not, the ball snaps clean through the net, leaving crowds gasping. But it's not just about the distance. Clark's ball handling skills have become as legendary as her shot selection. Behind the back escapes, ankle breaking, crossovers, and spin moves that turn defenders inside out. These are all part of her repertoire. Witnesses to her in-game wizardry often find themselves re-watching slow-motion replays just to figure out how she managed to keep possession without missing a beat. One particularly shocking move involved a double behind-the-back shift to elude two defenders at once, followed by a silky smooth floater that barely rippled the net. Another time, she whipped a behind-the-back pass in transition that landed perfectly in her teammates' hands for an easy bucket. Moments like these spark immediate reactions. Coaches bury their faces in their hands, defenders glance around in dismay, and fans lose their minds. She may not be the tallest or the most physically imposing, but her combination of creativity and confidence forces rivals to question every defensive strategy. People often wonder whether she practices these stunts or if they come naturally. Truth is, it's likely a bit of both, a result of countless hours in the gym and an innate flair for the spectacular. The chatter around Clark's future is almost as intense as the buzz around her current performances. Will she declare for the WNBA early, or will she stay in college to break more records and refine her game? Fans argue in online forums with passionate takes. Some say she could handle professional defenders with ease, while others insist she needs another year or two to mature, physically and mentally. Behind closed doors, whispers suggest that multiple WNBA teams are already plotting trades or strategizing how to position themselves for the draft in hopes of landing her. High-profile endorsement deals also loom on the horizon. Sports apparel giants are reportedly salivating at the prospect of signing her, and rumor has it she's already been approached with offers that could redefine the financial standards for female athletes. Though no official confirmations have surfaced, industry insiders claim negotiations are well underway. Another question fueling endless debate is whether Clark's flamboyant style would clash with the more measured tactics often seen at the professional level. Her fearless approach might set her apart as a phenomenon, or cause friction if her shot selection disrupts the team's carefully orchestrated offense. If she does turn pro soon, she could shake up the WNBA in ways we haven't seen since Diana Taurasi or Maya Moore first made waves. But one thing is certain, wherever she goes, controversy and excitement will follow. And if the past few years are any indication, that's exactly what she thrives on. All the public bravado hides a world of unseen struggles. Even the most confident athlete can face mental hurdles, and Clark is no exception. According to those close to her, she's fiercely self-critical, often dissecting game footage in the late hours fixating on the moments she missed a shot or made a questionable pass. This inner drive pushes her to practice until her legs feel heavy and her vision blurs from exhaustion. Yet, the pressure of being an overnight sensation also weighs heavily on her shoulders. She's admitted in interviews to feeling drained at times by the near constant media attention and the avalanche of fan messages. High expectations can morph into a suffocating burden, especially when every shot, pass, and facial expression is dissected on social media. There were quiet rumors she even considered stepping away for a short break when the spotlight became overwhelming, though she's never confirmed or denied these whispers. Then there are the minor injuries that threaten to derail even the most unstoppable talents. Her ankles have been taped up more times than anyone can remember, and she's battled nagging back pains from carrying such a massive workload. Each time she brushes off these setbacks, fans grow more convinced that she's practically invincible. But those close to the team hint that her body sometimes needs more rest than she allows it. Still, it's precisely this single-minded determination that has brought her to the pinnacle of the sport. She's built a mental fortress through repetition, discipline, and a knack for setting lofty goals. That's the key to understanding how she keeps her head above water in the churn of controversies, rivalries, and media attention. But there's one more twist to her journey that often goes unnoticed. Whispers behind the scenes suggest that Clark might have a surprise waiting for everyone, a potential interest in carving her own path that transcends traditional team dynamics. Some speculate she's fascinated by the possibility of building a personal brand on social media platforms, releasing training videos, or perhaps partnering with a global superstar in a cross-sport collaboration. Friends close to Clark have hinted she might be quietly studying how to leverage her fame beyond basketball. Many top athletes have ventured into content creation creation, brand building, and philanthropic efforts. But few do it while they're still in the prime of their athletic rise. Is Clark about to rewrite not just the record books, but also the entire blueprint for a modern sports career? Others wonder if she'll choose to remain in college to chase certain personal milestones, or if she's ready to go all in on a pro career that offers immediate financial security. Her name alone generates serious revenue, ticket sales, merchandise, digital impressions. Imagine what an official announcement about her future could do to the sports world. Insiders anticipate a wave of excitement, speculation, and possibly even tension among those who feel she's not done yet at the collegiate level. However it unfolds, one undeniable fact remains. Caitlin Clark has the power to redefine how a women's basketball star navigates career decisions. Whether fans cheer her on or criticize her moves, they can't deny her impact on the culture. And that might be the biggest story yet, how she takes control of her narrative in a realm where athletes often follow well-trodden paths. At the end of the day, Caitlin Clark is more than just a player who can sink absurdly long shots or execute mind-bending crossovers. She embodies the evolution of basketball itself, a shift towards skill, flair, and the unstoppable drive of a single individual to push the limits. Fans love her for those electrifying moments when she makes defenders look helpless, and even her harshest critics can't ignore the raw numbers she's putting up year after year. The real question is, have we seen Caitlin Clark at her peak? Or is she just getting started on a path that will leave even more battered records and heated controversies in her wake? Skeptics keep doubting her ability to sustain such jaw-dropping performances, but she keeps proving them wrong. If history is any guide, she'll continue to evolve, refining her play style, broadening her influence, and silencing any whispers of a sophomore slump or a fluke season. So, as the basketball world braces itself for her next move, be it another NCAA season of highlight reel heroics or a grand entrance into the pros, one thing stands out above all. Caitlin Clark isn't merely destined for success. She's on a mission to transform the landscape around her. Whether you're a diehard supporter or one of the many who's still on the fence, it's impossible to look away. And that might be her greatest gift, forcing all of us to pay attention, to talk, to debate, and ultimately to appreciate the sport in ways we never did before. Feel free to let that sink in as you look ahead to what promises to be the next chapter of a truly extraordinary story. Will she step onto the WNBA hardwood and dominate from day one? Or will she shatter more college records and raise her draft stock even higher? In the end, it's about more than just one player's journey. It's about the vibrant pulse of a game that's rapidly changing, thanks in large part to Caitlin Clark's fearless drive. And we can't wait to see what she does next. That wraps up our deep dive into the unstoppable force that is Caitlin Clark. From her early days of outworking everyone else in the gym to the controversies that keep her name in headlines, she's a player who keeps us all guessing. Whether you admire her grit or question her showmanship, you have to admit, the game feels more exciting with her in it. So keep your eyes peeled, because the next chapter could be the most shocking one yet, and it might arrive sooner than anyone expects.